There are so many aspects and elements in which to compare Final Fantasy VII Remake to the original, but in this video I wanted to focus on a few specific scenes. Let's get on. Real quick, save the dates if these tickle your fancy. Square Enix will be hosting a new digital direct event titled Square Enix Presents for Spring 2021. It will be held on March 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. They will debut the world premiere of the next Life is Strange with a 40-minute lineup of new trailers and announcements from many of their upcoming titles, also featuring Outriders, Marvel's Avengers, Tomb Raider 25th Anniversary, new Square Enix Montreal games, Just Cause Mobile, Balan Wonderworld, new mobile game announcements, and a Taito showcase. To be honest, I'm not all that interested in any of those games listed, but I'll check out the event if I am able, because I'm of course a huge fan of Square Enix and we should support these other games and franchises. Also, Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan announced that there will be an upcoming live stream focusing on Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and Resident Evil Village. The presentation will be an hour long and it will occur at 3 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It will include appearances by producer Yoshinori Kitase and MCs Hatsune Matsushima and Takuya Nakamura. There might be spoilers ahead, so please be aware. Alright, so in the original Final Fantasy VII, Tifa speaks to Cloud at 7th Heaven. She tells him that the planet is slowly dying and she pleads with him to join their cause. Cloud goes to leave, and it's here where Tifa reminds him of his promise to her. 7 years ago, Cloud sat by the well in Nibelheim, waiting for Tifa to come so he could speak with her. Cloud then lets Tifa know that he will be leaving town for Midgar in the spring, not just to find a job, but to join Soldier and to become the best soldier, just like his hero Sephiroth. He lets her know that he will probably be gone for a while, so Tifa proposes a promise. If Cloud becomes really famous and Tifa's ever in a bind, her hero will come to save her. She tells him that she wants to experience this at least once, so Cloud's a little confused by this, but he eventually agrees to the promise. What's interesting is that when they return to the present, Cloud tells Tifa, "I'm not a hero and I'm not famous, so I can't keep our promise." Tifa keeps pleading with Cloud, saying that he got his childhood dream of joining Soldier, so he has to keep his promise, but Cloud is still reluctant. This is when Barrett climbs up from the basement and pays Cloud for the job that he performed. Cloud scoffs at the low pay and says that he'll join the next mission for 3,000 gil. So in kind of an indirect way, he is trying to keep his promise to Tifa as long as the price is right. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, after the group returns to 7th Heaven after the opening bombing mission, the scenes are similar but significantly different. First of all, we're not able to take the pinball machine down to the basement, which is really unfortunate. Barrett and the others do, but Cloud is not able to. But the flashback does not occur during this scene. Tifa does not plead with Cloud to join their cause, and she never reminds him of his promise to her from 7 years ago. The flashback with Cloud's promise to Tifa does occur, but it occurs at a drastically different time than in the original. It's kind of random actually. It occurs during Chapter 4, Mad Dash, which is a completely new and added on chapter that adds some backstory to the characters of Avalanche, especially Jessie. So Cloud joins Jessie as well as Biggs and Wedge as they travel up towards the Sector 7 plate to help Jessie investigate the properties behind the explosion of the Mako Reactor 1 bombing. As Biggs and Wedge proceed to go over the plan and tells Cloud to make preparations, Cloud gets distracted and looks up towards the sky. He sees some sort of air vent with spinning fan blades, and this triggers the flashback where he remembers his promise to Tifa. The flashback in the remake plays pretty close to the flashback in the original, but it's just the timing and the placement of the flashback that's drastically different. Not only that, but in the remake, after snapping out of the flashback, he actually closes his eyes as if he's trying to remember something. It then flashes back to a more recent memory, where Cloud talks to Tifa about having second thoughts about the bombing missions. She wants to accomplish big things, but she doesn't necessarily agree with how they are going about it, and she feels trapped, probably between wanting to save the planet, but potentially causing a lot of harm in trying to do so. Cloud then snaps out of this flashback and then clenches his fist before returning to the present. Jessie then fires her signal and the mission continues. I'd love to know your thoughts on why you think they changed the placement of this scene, but here's my theory. I've got to warn you, it's kind of schmaltzy. This video was actually inspired by a Facebook post where someone was kind of bothered with the placement. They were saying that the placement in the original made sense, but the placement in remake felt very random. I do think it's kind of random, but I just want to go on record as saying that I have no problem with the placement of the flashback in the remake. So in the original, Tifa makes it a point to remind Cloud of the memory and of the promise he made to her 7 years ago. But in the remake, this never happens. He's actually reminded of the memory by looking up, and an air vent reminds him of the promise. My thoughts are that the developers are simply showing that Tifa is always on Cloud's mind. He doesn't need Tifa to remind him of anything. He's just always thinking about her. And at the beginning of both games, Cloud is this cold, stiff character. He doesn't care about anyone or anything. He doesn't care about Barret or Avalanche or even the planet. He just wants to do the job and get paid a lot of money for it. When Cloud clenches his fist, it's a small thing, but to me, I feel like it represents that Tifa is giving him strength. Not only that, but it feels like by remembering Tifa, he remembers how much he cares about her and he wants to support her. And he also feels for her when she says that she feels trapped, and he would do anything to alleviate that feeling from her. I feel like this theory is further solidified later in Chapter 8. Cloud accompanies Aerith to go and find the missing kids, and on the way back, just these kids walking trigger a short flashback of Tifa as a child. Note that he also has a headache during the scene, so that might also have to do with his struggles of facing his traumatic past. But it also just made me think that Tifa is simply always on his mind, that no one has to remind him of Tifa, he's always thinking about her, and anything can remind him of her, whether it's an air vent or children walking. Tifa is embedded in Cloud's past, and they have a lot of memories together, regardless of if those memories are good or traumatic. These scenes and flashbacks might be small and subtle foreshadowing, and they're all building up to the part of the story where Tifa eventually becomes an integral part of helping Cloud piece his mind back together. So here's my question for you: what is this guy doing? But also, why do you think they changed the placement of that promised flashback sequence? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you like this video and you want to see more Final Fantasy VII and Remake content. For other videos from Oddrummer Gaming, click or tap the screen. Thank you to everyone who has watched, liked, commented, and shared my videos. I am so grateful to everyone for helping me to reach 200 subscribers. I want to keep the momentum going and grow the channel to keep making great content for you all to enjoy. Stay odd and keep on playing.